After being deceived, Jim Jones was televised. One moment, he was sitting in court like a king. The next, Camron, Chrissy wearing a sweatshirt and heels in a hotel room with another person, was captured on camera when they hit play on a USB. Jim still doesn't understand, so let him be foolish. Have you ever witnessed a man's heart leave his body while laughing and whispering? Jim merely gazed at the TV as if it were his funeral, not talking, blinking, or breathing. Sanity in the courtroom. Mama Jones remained mute, and Camron smirked as if he had waited 10 years. This wasn't accidentally released. It was a powerful and poignant performance, and Chrissy was aware of the. Now that the camera was rolling, we want to know how many more clips Cam has. Was this a long-term scam, or was it love? How do you rebuild when everyone else watches your life fall apart in 4K? Hold on tight, for Jim Jones won't be around after this. Returning, it began with a USB and concluded with Jim Jones's hands shaking and his soul folded in a courtroom chair. Halfway out his body, the video was clear and time-stamped. It wasn't fuzzy or a maybe that's her moment. And recorded as if someone had anticipated that it would eventually be shown in court. Chrissy, 9:13 p.m. Outside the Moran Hotel in Soho, I pulled a hoodie over her head and looked side to side as if the city was. Reggie was inside that suite, and the man who opened the door, not Jim, was observing her breathing. Fans began speculating months ago that the Chrissy was the same man connected to a muffled jail call. Spore was only a friend, but this film was a complete betrayal in high definition, and the moment Camron. You could feel the energy change as you gave that USB to the court clerk. The room grew chilly, and Jim sat up more erect, as though he already knew something deep inside. Yet seeing and knowing are two different things. Agony because Chrissy went back toward the hallway and whispered into her phone as soon as she entered that hotel room. The courtroom burst out laughing as someone said, "Jim still thinks I'm at my cousin's, he's so easy." Cam leaned back in his chair, sounding tense rather than loud, as if he had been waiting 10 years for karma to pay the check. And Jim sat as if his skeleton had melted. He didn't say anything or have an outburst. He just sat there, breathing through glassy eyes. Slowly until he eventually took a deep breath and collapsed, with one arm hanging off the chair in the courtroom and one hand on his chest. Chrissy stayed still as if she were seeing a sight she had already seen, while babes raced in and EMTs were called. Cam didn't blink, flinch, or move when you imagined it 100 times. And that was only the first 37 seconds of the clip, because the next thing that happened was the quiet, the falsehoods, and the ride-or-die scenario that they created for reality TV. Undone, the video moves to the interior of the room, where a playlist and 2 glasses of wine are playing on the speaker. It's slow and seductive. "This is where I breathe with you, I don't feel," Chrissy says in a low voice while giggling, like though I'm choking on someone else's life. Jim referred to Chrissy as his own on 3 separate episodes just last year, so that statement really hit home. He's hearing her remark that she felt dead inside of him, and insiders say that oxygen was the reason I survived the first day. The camera was known to Chrissy. It belonged to a buddy of Reggie's who kept a record of everything for security. However, Chrissy didn't anticipate that Camron would obtain that tape. It's still unclear how he obtained it. While some claim Cam had someone on the inside, others think that when Chrissy abandoned him last month, Reggie lost it, but Camron found the one piece of evidence that no one believed to exist. And it wasn't just any proof, it was unquestionably scandalous. And emotionally devastating court records attest that Cam filed the USB as part of a defamation lawsuit. Lawsuit alleging that Jim attempted to defame him during a 2022 VH1 production meeting, but legal beef for This was about retaliation, not the court, and Cam didn't just serve it cold. He did it in front of Jim's mother because, yes, Mama Jones was in court, and she sprang up so quickly when Jim hit the ground that security believed she. Before being escorted out of TMZ, she yelled, "You lied to my son, you used him," as if to attack Chrissy. Observed her shouting into her phone while pacing the sidewalk. "This is why I never trusted that woman," I told Jim on day one. She would ruin him. In the meanwhile, the court had to halt the trial for a complete hour as Jim's vitals were examined by EMTs, who verified that he had only experienced a trauma-induced collapse and not a heart attack. Camron's Chrissy hotel clip went viral on the internet in just a few seconds. All trended within 20 minutes of the disclosure, and the memes exposing Name Jones' fall. Bro got folded like the sheets Chrissy left in. Read the caption of a brutal image of Jim's face on a mattress. Camron was grinning like Thanos with a final infinity at that hotel. This was more than just a Twitter roasting session, though, as the court reopened, and the DA halted the trial once more and drew the judge aside after the entire 4-minute clip had finished. Why? Because the video purportedly showed potential obstruction of justice, in addition to being proof of infidelity. As you can see from the hotel film, the court was already looking into Chrissy in relation to a closed charity fraud case. Reggie helped me clean that mess up. I told them it was a donation. Translation: what began as a reality TV heartbreak has now turned into a possible new charge. Federal case, but Cam wasn't finished because he got up and looked straight at the judge as she called for recess. Jim remarked, "I just gave you what you needed to heal. I told you she wasn't loyal." Jim remained motionless and silent, staring straight ahead as if the entire world had gone silent, and Chrissy she. According to a courtroom Laprier seated 3 seats back, she leaned over to her lawyer and whispered something. "Tell the judge I was drunk," she shouted behind her, adding, "That clip is out of context." It was a 4K multi-angle video with audio, but we're only beginning to explore because when Cam's legal team said they will be sending 2 more clips and a leaked voicemail from Chrissy to the court when it starts next week. Mona Scott and Jim Jones won't be the only one who loses everything if even half of the rumors on that call are accurate. When recess finished, the courtroom was still humming, but it will be the entire VH1 franchise that burns to the ground. As everyone was regaining their breath after watching the hotel film, nobody was prepared for what was about to happen. The court halted in mid-sentence when Cameron's attorney came up and said, "We have more film and an audio file." Chrissy became pale, and Jim could hear the rumors sweeping through the audience like a wave of mistrust. Mama Jones had to be forcefully restrained to prevent her from returning to the courtroom without even looking up. This is a voicemail left by Ms. Cam's lawyer, Calm Cool Surgery, as the judge moved closer to ask for clarity. 3 weeks prior to the tape being recorded, Lampkin was on Mona Scott Yum's phone. Suddenly, this wasn't simply a cheating scandal. This was going to turn into a conspiracy that would damage the franchise. The clerk played the voicemail and Jaws cut Chrissy's voice crystal clear in 10 seconds. "Mona, I told you that if Jim discovers the entire seasons, wrecked Cam won't be able to tell either, and he'll utilize it." Reggie said that the room footage was erased, handled the video, told Mona to put it away, and labeled it season ending. This was a smoking gun inside a nuclear power plant. Chrissy's attorney frantically got up to protest as the tree judge paused the audio, but it was too late. Had enough, and Cam was no longer even grinning. He was confined because the voicemail wasn't only evidence of Chrissy's guilt. Cheating demonstrated that she was aware that she would be discovered and attempted to cover it up with assistance from the top. That implied coercion and maybe meddling in a continuing investigation. Even the bailiffs now appeared shaken, and Jim eventually raised his head, his eyes vacant, looking straight at Chrissy as if he had forgotten who she was, as if the woman he had purchased rings for had sobbed. On the red carpet, they battled producers to prove that they didn't exist. Then the second tape began. This one was taken inside a trailer on the set of Love and Hip Hop New York, which was shot months ago, not from the hotel. Earlier surreptitiously shared by an unidentified crew member, the video captured Chrissy and Yandy conversing behind the scenes. Chrissy stated, "I'm not," on what was meant to be a laid-back day, but this talk was anything but casual. "I'm aware that Jim is loyal, but loyalty doesn't make me feel better. Reggie helps me feel something, and Mona is aware that this could leak. You're playing with fire, girl, and you know Cam despises him. You're caught, and it's not just a scandal. It's war. I'm out," Yandy's reply. Because the audience was now witnessing more than simply infidelity, that clip struck a different chord. The entire Chrissy and Jim romance, for example, was a planned brand rather than a genuine bond, and worse, it revealed Mona, because the producers would have promoted the engagement special, even if they had known about it months before. By now, social media was in complete chaos, blogs were burning, and fans were burning. What else had they fabricated? The eternal love angle were switching sides in real time, with Chrissy's name trending alongside Judah's and liability setup queen. After evading security, Love Out Towns and Mama Jones barged into the corridor outside the court's TMZ cameras. Waited and yelled, "I want VH1 to burn with that snake because she destroyed my son's life." Security attempted to stop her, but the damage was done, and the video quickly went viral on TikTok. Mama Jones' tirade was even merged into the hotel video, which Talk captioned, "When your mom was right the whole time." However, following the audio in the second tape, things became more gloomy back in court. Played, Cam's attorney reappeared with a printed email, a screenshot, and a paper trail which he gave to. This is an email from Chrissy's account asking for the removal of footage from a private server, the judge stated, connected to the media cloud of Mona Scott. The room went silent again, the judge read the email. Chrissy's hands started to shake. In it, she allegedly wrote, "I must clean the room by Monday. If it leaks, Jim won't get better, and the show won't tell Reggie to shut up." Close. This was manipulation, not just cheating, and it was a media sensation. Job gone bad, Jim got to his feet, shivering, and asked Chrissy a single question. Was this all real? Chrissy looked down, her lips twitching, but she said nothing. That stillness was louder than everything else. Confession, because there could have been something left if she had answered yes, but Camron's response was silence. Judge hesitated, but he didn't flinch. He had already won. This wasn't merely retaliation, it was surgical disassembly. Proceedings once more, not due to mayhem, but rather because VH1's legal team unexpectedly asked to speak in court. That's the network was now involved, correct? A man in a gray outfit is their representative. We think some of this footage was illegally obtained, and its release may help, he said, perspiring through his collar. Breach current contract's confidentiality provisions. Translation: Cam had blown apart their golden pair, and they were in a panic. Proved the entire love story was a ticking time bomb and exposed production trickery, but the judge wasn't. Seeking to salvage TV deals, he turned to face Chrissy and inquired, "Did you try to sabotage this court's investigation by deceiving or suppressing the media?" Chrissy stuttered. Her lawyer objected. The judge pressed on, and that's when her voice cracked. "I didn't. I just was afraid for things to get this far. but I was afraid of losing Jim and of being discovered after witnessing the lie. Breakdown too late because the court had one more surprise. Reggie's text log was leaked. Cam's team subpoenaed a burner phone, and in it, Reggie wrote to a buddy, "She played me too," saying she'd. I should have deleted the other clips, but she pleaded with me not to. Now that I'm the villain and Cam got the drop. Yes, the others, which implied that there were more. At the end of the day, Jim left the courtroom with the appearance of a ghost, Chrissy by his side, Mona and security, just him. One guy carrying the burden of an unrealized love. And in a betrayal that was broadcast live to the entire globe, a reporter asked Cam one last question. "Do you believe Jim deserves?" "No," Cam answered, looking into the lens, "but sometimes the truth doesn't." He went after saying, "I don't care who it breaks, as there was only one man left in this game of love, loyalty, and cameras." The courthouse without a loss, and worse, it's not even. The footage had already been shown on all American screens by the following morning. The clips had been merged, remixed, and slowed down. Mixed with depressing music and quickly became memes before Chrissy could grab hold of her. The frozen expression of betrayal on publicist Jim Jones's face has come to represent not only heartache, but shame, and despite the online disagreements among followers, it was evident that no one was buying the miscommunication story. People were dragging up old people, and this was a whole operation that was made public, not just a rumor gone awry. Rewatching the love tale with fresh eyes, and noticing the red in interviews and tweets from previous seasons. Flags in HD1 video even came back, in which Mama Jones yelled at Chrissy, "You don't love my son, you love the camera." Although the court wasn't finished, that quote was now on t-shirts. Even close because the legal problem was louder than the emotional destruction, and VH1's internal emails were abruptly subpoenaed following an emergency motion made by Camron's legal team. The reason for this was that Chrissy's boyfriend, Reggie, slipping off while working on post-production, and guess who approved the Chrissy and Jim's video edits? Yes, Reggie, a spin-off that led to a significant fraud investigation of producers. Changed plotlines, concealed genuine turmoil, and edited video to maintain a brand that isn't just dubious, it's civil. Sponsors began to withdraw if there was fraud involving contracts, ad revenue, or misrepresenting cast members. During the brief production halt, Mona Scott Young unfollowed Chrissy. You can tell something's wrong when Mona gives up on the script, but this is when things took a turn for the worst. Jim Jones' attorney filed a motion to file a lawsuit against Chrissy for financial sabotage and emotional suffering. Let that sink in. After years of being her man, the paperwork weren't light, and Jim, her collaborator on and off screen, was now legally turning against her, including canceled appearances, lost brand deals, and most damning of all, unreleased video that Jim had consented to. Footage for a Netflix documentary series that was never aired due to the incident. Estimated loss, $2. $3 million, not including what transpired after Chrissy's own ex abruptly broke up with her. Suddenly, a man named Marcus, who was supposedly connected to her in the past, conducted an exclusive with a gossip website, saying, Jim was the exposure, not the endpoint, and Chrissy always had a fallback plan. He even displayed voicemails and texts, one of which was one where, Jim's career is cute, but I'm trying to build mine, Chrissy allegedly responded. Q internet combustion blogs ran wild. After Chrissy the Architect became popular, Cam was just warming up. Because Camron dropped his own documentary while the court was considering motions and securing evidence. Instagram users shared a 30-second teaser video with the comment, "You saw the courtroom now." Watch the complete truth soon. Chrissy's voice appears on the black screen teaser. Murmuring, "If this gets out, Jim's going to leave me. Don't let Cam find out." Then boom cut to Camron's face saying, "I learned." Jim didn't comment, but that video received over 5 million views in just 4 hours. Mama Jones, his mother, paced her living room while speaking on a live stream that evening, suppressing her anger and tears. "You broke my son. You broke me, Chrissy. I called you my daughter, but now look what you did. You allowed the devil to. And he was wearing a pink coat. That wasn't just a shade, it was war." Chrissy fell silent. She didn't say anything or apologize. Sometimes the only response they deserve is quiet, but it's too late. One Instagram story with a black background and white lettering. Since stillness only works when no one is screaming, the court returned on day 4. Session, and the judge was no longer acting as a mediator. He was furious because more information had come to light, this time from, unexpectedly, Olivia Longot, a former cast member. In a sworn affidavit, a former performer and lifelong silent spectator stated that she saw Chrissy and Reggie in 2022, they were in a hotel lobby together, holding hands and debating whether to keep things. "I'm just doing what Mona won't. Jim's too blind to see I'm not built for," she remarked quietly, quoting Chrissy. That was deliberate fraud, not merely treachery. And this is where things got crazy. VH1 attempted to remove the video. From continuing to air, they sent bloggers cease and desist letters, attempted to remove YouTube breakdowns, and even filed provisional orders to stop the documentary that Camron hinted at. But the internet remembers, and Cam wasn't afraid, so he went live, grinning, drinking and saying, "Let them try." The truth has already been revealed. This isn't their story anymore. It's mine. In the meantime, Jim stopped going to court because he couldn't handle it, not because he didn't care. Mr. Jones is concentrating on his mental health and requests privacy, according to a brief statement given by his staff. During this period, the victim and the criminal abruptly switched roles since Chrissy went from being engaged to Jim from rapper and the defendant to ruin. And now that the show has been canceled, the legal battles are going on, and the fans are asking. Accountability, there is no doubt that this incident destroyed a brand in addition to a relationship. Revealed a franchise, revealing what truly occurs when love turns into a commodity and allegiance. Turns into leverage, one admirer wrote on Twitter. "It's not true that love and hip-hop existed. But this suffering, this fallout, this quiet, it's more authentic than anything that was ever shown." You know what? They're correct. Because the actual damage is the only thing that remains after the smoke clears and the editing stops. The kind that plays repeatedly and doesn't fade in the following episode. The kind that doesn't cut to commercial. We now ponder, was it worth it? Every time someone uploads a Chrissy hotel footage to YouTube. The hotel secret. Jim's career was destroyed by betrayal, and his response to the camera plays repeatedly as he remains silent. Furthermore, regardless of how hard they attempt to conceal it or rewrite it, Chrissy's story is already written in the video. Nobody was averting their eyes while the entire world witnessed it. So now that the mask is off them, when the cameras stop rolling and the truth is exposed, what will happen next? Will Jim Jones give up all of his fame? Does Chrissy disappear into silence in the hopes that time will heal him from the betrayal and begin to mend on his own terms? I'm sorry, but I can't. Moreover, Camron, is this a one-time retribution drop, or does he have more planned? Sincerely, if this was only one clip, what else might be concealed on those files? One thing is certain, though. Simply another instance of love and hip-hop. But this was a complete collapse, with a reality TV empire collapsing under the weight of. Here's what you need to do, since a USB stick, receipts and secrets caused more harm than 1,000 fists could. Comment with your ideas. Who do you think is at fault? And most importantly, who will come next because of this? The lesson that the saga has imparted to us is that no. When the truth begins to surface, one is safe. Be sure to press the like button if you were glued to this. Please subscribe so you don't miss the next shocking revelation. Turn on and believe me, it's coming. Notifications due to the actual drama never longer occurs on television. Instead, it occurs. The truth doesn't get through here. Edit it out. This is only the start. Additionally, if you're still seeing, you're already included in the narrative.